Hello, my name is Andy Smith. This is case number 4, concealment of education on a job application. I'll be assuming the position of grievance rep chairman. Introduction, next slide. This case is presented to address case 4 and the grievance representative. A grievance relating to termination and concealment of an education on a job application. Jim Norbuck, a native of Pennsylvania where he was employed by Leach Industries. Leach Industries is a manufacturing plant that's also located in central Pennsylvania. Mr. Norbuck graduated high school in the same town where he currently resides. Upon his completion of high school, he attended the University of Illinois where he graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in English and a minor in philosophy. He also attended the University of Wisconsin where he graduated with a Master's of Arts degree. He began working on his PhD but would not complete the program. He moved back to Pennsylvania and began working as a substitute teacher in the high school and college level. Mr. Norbuck applied to Leach Industries, who has a policy of not hiring anyone with a college education as a blue-collar worker. Mr. Norbuck's employment application, he did not disclose his advanced education and was subsequently offered employment by Leach Industries in a utility position. He completed his probationary period, working through a period of layoffs and a company strike. During the strike, Mr. Norbuck supported the United Steelworkers of America Local 55. His involvement included writing pamphlets in support of the strike. His involvement also resulted in drawing attention of Leach Industries' Human Resources Department, who reviewed Mr. Norbuck's background and education. Mr. Norbuck was terminated for falsifying his employment application. A grievance was filed by the United Steelworkers of America Local 55 on behalf of Mr. Norbuck. Next slide. Selected role. In case 4, I will assume the position of a union grievance chairperson, representing the grievance, which is case number 35. Points I will discuss will be the employment process of Leach Industries, the process of the current labor agreement, and the position outlined which may have a basis for discrimination. We'll also evaluate the grounds for terminations under the articles of the labor agreement that references employment positions in the grievance process. Next slide. Case content. The case is based on the grievance filed by the United Steelworkers of America Local 55. A wrongful termination case, grievance number 35, was filed and stated the facts. The aggrieved charges the company Leach Industries with discharging Jim Norbuck on April 17th without just cause. The union is hereby requesting the company Leach Industries reinstate Mr. Jim Norbuck with full seniority, all lost wages, and other benefits spelled out in the agreement. The agreement also references Articles 8, suspension discharge, Articles 11, Article 12, Section 1, management rights. The grievance also references the Pennsylvania legal definition of the arbitrator's authority. The content is based upon employee disclosure and basis for fraud. Next slide. This case content continued. The main points defined in the grievance will be Article 8, suspension and discharge, Section 1. This defines procedure, suspension, discharge, and disciplinary actions shall be first discussed with a shop steward or any grievance committee, therefore be put into effect. The union's position is that the company did not follow Article 8 of the labor agreement, therefore Mr. Norbuck should be reinstated. Next slide, case content continued. Article 11, seniority, Section 1. The basis for seniority. Plant seniority is defined as a length of continuous service with the company and shall be continued until termination for reason set forth under paragraph B. The union also believes Mr. Norbuck had already served his probation under this period, therefore he is entitled to his seniority referencing the date of hire. Next slide, case content continued. Article 12, Section 1, management rights. The management right to hire, maintain order of efficiency is the sole responsibility of management. Section B, the management has the right to promote, the right to discipline and discharge for just cause, and likewise the sole responsibility of management. The union does not feel the management had the right to terminate Jim Norbuck on the basis of just cause. Next slide. The grievance position. The grievance stated should be moved in the direction that the termination is based on education. His education has no merit on his ability to do his job in a safe and efficient manner. Mr. Norbuck did not exaggerate his experience in any fraudulent manner. I feel his education is not relevant to Leach Industries and could be held in a discriminating fact against individuals with higher education. It is the company policy which is not provided to prove or disapprove their position. Under Article 8, Section 2 of the CBA, this is not allowed. The legal definition under Pennsylvania law is that fraudulent misrepresentation of any material facts in a business transaction is an attempt to induce reliance. Next slide. Grievance position continued. The grievance position is also supported by its foundation. Research has sought to identify anything that correlates in the grievance revolution. Indeed, most of the existing research on a grievance behavior has analyzed the factors affecting the grievance and the initiation, the primary focus of the demographics and the attitude that correlates with any grievance activity, cited as Knight, 1986. The argument could also be made that Mr. Norberg was terminated on his activities during the strike. If it were necessary for the situation to be presented to the arbitrator, a wrongful termination suit with uncertainty for both parties' interest. However, attaining a settlement would be the best interest from both parties, as cited in Alder 1989. Next slide. Union's plan of action. Grievance number 35 is a first step in filing the grievance in the grievance process. The articles under the CBA outline the labor agreement and what is required and expected. Leach Industries has provided a probationary period to research the backgrounds of all employees. Mr. Horbuck satisfactorily completed this, therefore, he was allowed all rights and support under the collective bargaining agreement. Next slide. The resolution that sought in the grievance listed the employee requests the items under Article 11 of the labor agreement. Jim Norberg represented the United Steelworkers of America, Local 55, and demands that this section of the labor agreement be implemented. Next slide. Conclusion. It is clear that Mr. Norberg failed to disclose his higher education. He did not violate any company policy or procedures. His attempt to record is clear of any. His employment record is clear of any discrepancies. Susan Napoli, Assistant Director of Human Resources, initiated the investigation into Mr. Norberg's background, as he was the only employee that received such investigation. Her action is cause for concern and raised the possibility that the investigation was due to Mr. Norberg's support of the strike and promoting unity within the labor group.